Hey everybody. My name is Indigo. I'm a musician, composer, producer, and recording engineer. I work primarily in electronic music under the name Wangled Teb, which was recently awarded Music New Brunswick's Electronic Artist of the Year Award for 2018. Thank you. Thank you. That should keep me from feeling insecure for about 5 seconds. I've had a passion for music as far back as I can remember. I taught myself to write music with a computer when I was a kid, but I didn't really show it to anybody for years other than my mom, because it had always been something like very personal for me. So it wasn't until relatively recently that I started to think that maybe I could actually make a career out of it. This was me at Festival 506 last month in Caracat. I released my first album in 2015, and that was a huge accomplishment for me at the time. It still is, but at the time it especially was. I had just gotten out of rehab a year and a half prior to that, so I was in the process of figuring my life out, figuring out what my values were, what I wanted to do, who I was. Turns out I'm a woman. I was really surprised. Turns out I'm also a pretty good and very motivated musician. So fast forward 3 years from then, I've released 4 albums. I'm currently working on my next 2. One of them is going to be released through Aaron Bond's new label, 215 Records. I don't know if any of you follow the East mag, but it was just announced on there. And I got a grant from Arts New Brunswick to make that one. So the Kalaya String Quartet is going to perform on it, which is exciting. It's also exciting that I've been able to achieve this level of success as a musician who is a woman and who is also transgender, which is like double jeopardy. I've had some other trans people tell me that they found me really inspiring, which is great. And I'm very open to questions if anyone ever is looking for any kind of advice on grant writing or anything to do with music, especially other women and trans people. But something that I often hesitate to tell people when they tell me that is that in order to get this successful, I've had to sacrifice a newborn to Baphomet once per month under the light of a full moon. I'm kidding. I've had to work really hard. And I think there's a certain level where you can get by just working harder than your competition, but after a certain point, everyone you're surrounded with is working incredibly hard, so that doesn't work anymore. You have to make good connections, and you have to develop good business skills. So I felt like I was lacking in that area, and I applied to CATAPULT, and I'm very grateful that I got in because we've learned so many skills over the past couple months that now I feel like my ability to manage myself is on par with my ability to produce quality work, which is a really great feeling. I feel a lot more confident now. A lot of my recent work has involved collaboration with other artists. I collaborated with Emily and another colleague of ours, Sophia Bartholomew, on an audiovisual performance back in April at Quality Block Party in St. John. And I collaborated with Katie Foal, who's an electrical engineer and artist, also in St. John for Third Shift Festival. So I'm not sure if the photos come up yet, but she converted a bunch of old TVs into oscilloscopes, which display changes in voltage over time. And then I wrote a piece which pumped through the TVs and generated visuals. And we did it in a parking garage, which performing in a parking garage has always been a dream of mine. Which sounds weird, but I swear to God it has. So it was incredible. I'm really interested in the idea of live music as something kind of temporary and ephemeral. So both of those projects were once-in-a-lifetime experiences, literally, because it's never going to happen again. So if you were there, congratulations. I really want to do more work like this in the future. So if anybody has a festival or wants to collaborate on a musical or multidisciplinary project with me, feel free to reach out. I have some business cards on the table back there, and they have download codes written on them for my latest album. There's 10 of them, so, you know, first come, first serve, I guess. There's something really beautiful to me about experiencing a performance or an exhibition and knowing that you're like the only group that's ever going to see that. It's like kind of melancholy, but also kind of more beautiful because of that, I think, which is like kind of my whole aesthetic is like melancholy and beautiful. So yeah, and if you think your friends would like my music, please share it with them and encourage them to pay for it. Thank you.